There's something unique that is uniquely American about the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, the reason why I'm having a hard time with this sentence is because this year it wasn't. It felt like Latin America. It might as well been a World Cup event. But Super Bowl, generally speaking, is a very American experience. And winning the Super Bowl, you're on the Wheaties box. Most of those players have come from nothing, and they train their entire life. They sacrifice their body for the rest of their lives. You win the Super Bowl. And if you win the Super Bowl in California, then they send you a bill that says, you lose. Because the Super Bowl was played in California, that means California gets to tax the income earned in that game. This is going to blow your mind. Now, most people would go, okay, fair enough. Whatever. But that's not what California does, because that's not enough money. California reaches backward months into the past, and they claim the right to tax a slice of your entire season's salary based on how many duty days you spent in the state. Okay? So every day you're in the state, they reach back. So they're not just taxing the bonus, they're not just taxing the game check. They're taxing you the entire year. So if you earn $178,000 for the Super Bowl, okay, that's what you get if you won, $178,000. You end up owing the state more than that in taxes. How can you lose money winning the Super Bowl? Well, California's found a way to do it. They are just, dumb as a box of rocks. Do you think the players don't have anything to say about where the Super Bowl is played? Yeah, you've got the whole front office, but if all the players are like, you know what, I'm not playing in California anymore, that's ridiculous. Don't put the Super Bowl there. Now, the players don't choose the venue. They don't negotiate the location. They didn't vote on California tax law. They just showed up to work. California calls this a jock tax. But California takes it further than anyone. If I work in New York City, I have to pay taxes to New York City and state for every day I broadcast from New York. Oh, and they check. But I have to pay just the day that I'm working, and if I'm working there and broadcasting there, then I pay that. And in California, they're giving you the highest marginal rate in the country. It's over 13%, and they're thinking about raising it. So I'm not asking you to cry for the millionaire quarterback. That's not the point. The point is the precedent that this is set. No. I'll get to the precedent in a second. The point is, how stupid is California? You are driving everyone with money away. You would tax people, tax them. But you're taking away more than what they won by going? That's nuts. Precedent. When a government decides it can tax income earned elsewhere, just because you happen to pass through, you're not taxing activity. You're taxing existence. That doesn't work out well. Back in the 1970s, it was part of Cloward and Piven. If you don't know who those are, soon you'll be able to find out with Glenn AI. But they're these crazy Marxist professors that they had this theory, hey, let's overwhelm the system and collapse the system, and then we can have a beautiful Marxist one. Well, that's what they did. They didn't get the Marxism, but they collapsed New York in the 1970s because they had high taxes, aggressive enforcement. You owe us because you were here. What followed in the 1970s? Capital flight, businesses leaving, a hollowed out tax base. Why do you think Rush Limbaugh left? Why do you think Sean Hannity left? Why do you think I left? Why do you think all of these people leave? We were just the first out because we're like, I'm not paying that because I believe in small government and this is insane. But when you start to have people who believe in big government go, this is insane. In the 1970s, the city nearly went bankrupt. In France, we know this. What did they do? They imposed temporarily a wealth tax. Well, I mean, I remember watching from over here going, well, that's just dumb as a bunch of rock, because who's going to stay in France? You move out of France. Well, that's exactly what happened. The wealthy didn't pay more. They left. And by the time the government repealed the tax, tens of billions of dollars in capital already gone, along with all the jobs and the investment that came with it. You know, that's the one thing you forget. Have you ever worked for a guy who is poor? I haven't worked for a single poor man my entire life. Somebody who just didn't have any money, didn't pay any taxes because they just didn't have any money. The only people that are hiring are people who have money. You get rid of the people who have money, who's building businesses? This is what happened in Rome, late empire. They took productive citizens and just squeezed them. Why? Because they were bloating the state. They needed to pay for the giant state. Tax base completely collapsed. Economy followed. Gone. There is a lesson in every civilization that has tried this. It learns this lesson the hard way. You cannot tax people into staying. You can only tax them into leaving. And you can lower taxes to get them to move in. California is learning this in real time right now. 6 straight years of net population loss. And what are they doing? Hundreds of major companies are gone. Film production is a thing of the past. Billionaires are moving their resident. Where? To Florida. And instead of asking the question, what's happening here? They just answer the same way. Just tax what's left. Tax what's left. That's the danger of the jock tax mentality. Because once you accept the idea that location alone gives the government a right to reach into your entire life, there is no limiting principle anymore. Today it's athletes, tomorrow it's remote workers, then investors, then anyone with assets, connected it all to the state. If, God forbid, that mindset ever goes national, when there's no Florida to run to, no Texas to escape to, that's when it's over for good. I mean, the jock tax isn't insane because it punishes rich athletes. It's insane because it teaches the government to believe if you pass through our borders, we own a piece of you. And that idea never has ended well. Never. Not once. Ever, ever, ever. But that's not all California is doing. Try this. Valero. Valero is gas stations, oil refineries, okay? You know, California, what is it they're already paying? Let me look this up real quick. Already, the national average for gas all around the United States is $2.88. If you're living in a state where you're paying more than that, that's because of your state, okay? $2.88. California today is $4.36. Holy cow, okay? Now, that's for a lot of reasons. But one of those is they make it impossible to refine oil. You got to buy everything from out of state. Nobody wants to do any business with them because they have to have their own special blends, which cost money, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so Valero is a company that will refine the oil the way they want it refined in California. Okay, so they decided, yeah, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to do this. We can't do this. This is insane. Now, remember, California is the home of what? Okay, besides lunatics. Okay, besides progressives and high tax. They're the home of high tech. High tech needs what in the future? Energy. They're getting rid of all of their energy. Now they're getting rid of their pipelines. They're getting rid of the one of the only refineries, okay, 145,000 barrels per day. They were going to leave in April. They've just said, you know what, we can't take it anymore. We're out. We're just going to close it down. Close it down. They're walking away from like $1 billion asset because they can't take California anymore. They think that gas in California, once this is in effect, They believe gas will go up another $1 to $1.50 because of this one refinery. And Gavin Newsom, you know what they did? Well, that's why we're going to have electric cars. Okay, what are you producing the electricity on? Because you won't do coal. What are you producing it on? Sunshine, and your tan is real. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So now, because, and I told you this would happen, because they convinced everybody to get an electric car, they're having an energy crisis. But also, what have they decided to do? They've decided because you have an electric car, you're no longer paying that gasoline tax. So they've just passed a bill where you have to pay by the mile. You have to pay a tax, a mileage tax. Okay? Told you that would happen. No, it won't. No. We're getting rid of the gas tax. Where are they going to? They have no money. They have to have the money. They'll tax anything. If they can tax rain, they will. They will. I hate to even say that because you watch. They will tax rain because they have to have the money. There are 5 cities now in the U.S., and I swear to you, if the federal government decides to bail these states and these cities out by using my federal tax dollar, I am going to hemorrhage out of my eyes. I mean, it will be like I have an artery just behind my eyes that's just I'd bleed out in 2 minutes. I won't be able to take the federal government saying, we have to bail out Los Angeles over my dead body, over my freaking dead body. Not going to do it. I don't care. I won't pay my taxes. I won't. You're going to bail out Los Angeles? No, we're not. They did this. We've warned them forever. It's why I lived in Texas and why I lived in Florida and not in California. Okay? I gave up the beautiful California weather to get beautiful Florida weather by the water, but with 100% humidity. I gave that. I'll accept that over the taxes because they're insane and they'll never stop. You want me to bail them out? No, I won't do that. What do all these cities have in common? Los Angeles, Houston, Philadelphia, Chicago, and New York City. Those are the cities that are going to need a bailout soon because they can't do it anymore. New York City, the residents there have the highest tax burden of $61,700. Chicago, $42,600. Philadelphia, $17,000. Houston, $4,800. Los Angeles, $1,300. Los Angeles seems like a dream come true. New York City has a tax burden for every resident of $61,700. You're insane if you think that's going to work. And you know what? They've just hired a mayor who's insane. And California, Los Angeles, is about to do it again. Somebody who is more progressive than the woman who's making out with Karl Marx and Fidel Castro, while the fires are burning out of control. I got my tongue down Karl Marx's throat right now. I can't fight that. Somebody who's like, yeah, I agree with her on a lot of stuff, but she doesn't go far enough. Another Marxist is running, and I bet you they hire her. I bet you they vote her in. Oh, good luck. Don't come to my door and ask me for a dime. Unless you have Girl Scout cookies, I might buy a Girl Scout cookie. But other than that, no.